Been in this fight since I was 6. Then I met a hot chick named Bix, but I'm a rebel, little tiny rebel. Ever feel like you're gonna die, hugging a stranger next to a blind guy on a beach somewhere? Would you even care? Oh, Bix, hottest of the Star Wars chicks. Why'd you have to fuck that guy under the Ferric sky? Oh, Bix, hottest of the Star Wars chicks. Why'd you have to fuck that guy under our Ferric sky? First met Bix and I kissed her. Forgot about the quest to find my sister for like 10 years. Now she's turning tricks, hanging out with the space grandpa. Mothma's freshly single and she's looking good. What was I doing again? Oh, Bix, hottest of the Star Wars chicks. Why'd you have to fuck that guy under the Ferric sky? Oh, why'd you have to fuck that guy under our Ferric sky? Oh, Bix, hottest of the Star Wars chicks. Why'd you have to fuck that guy under the Ferric sky? Oh, MakingStarWars.net. Hello, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and you're listening or watching to the only Star Wars podcast put on exclusively by incel rappers. Rob is having a technical difficulty. He was laying some fat beats about being an incel, and then he had to like do a mix down and stuff like that. But anyways, here I am doing the show. We're back to talking about Apple again, the Apple story, and we're gonna like break down that article today about Apple buying Disney. Sorry, in case you aren't reading the episode title and you're just listening to this randomly on autoplay or something. There's this rumor going around that Apple's going to buy Disney, that Disney wants to sell to Apple, and does it really hold any weight? Now, one thing I think that's really important to remember is when Star Wars was being purchased by Disney, it did not get out. There was no rumbling. There was no journalists going, hee, I'm hearing something. There was none of that. I know something. I can't say nothing. There was any of that at all. They didn't do it in any way. So they were able to keep that pretty tight. And now, but then let's look at this from a different angle. Maybe they're just trying to figure out, maybe this is exploratory. Maybe Disney is leaking this stuff to the press, or Apple is leaking this stuff to the press, trying to fill each other out. Maybe Apple's trying to fill out Disney to see how vulnerable do they feel. How eager is Bob Iger to unload his problems to a different company? Things like that happen. Like it's completely possible. It may not happen, may happen. I don't know. Or this could be completely in the fact that we are in the middle of a strike There's absolutely nothing going on. Bestman jokingly, well, maybe not even jokingly, Bestman suggested maybe this shit was written like 6 months ago and it's just been sitting there. And if you'll notice, it has multiple authors and stuff like that. So, this could go a lot of different ways. Hey, it's my incel rapper hype man. I announced today that we're incel rappers, Rob. They know now.
Is the show better without me, folks? Did it get more mature? Like,
no.
Has it been all about Star Wars? It didn't veer off any topics. Like,
other than the incel rapper part, it was pretty on, I think, for the most part. But
I like how you make the opening theme to this show, and they think I'm the immature one. Like, I could never have sung Bix, right?
Yeah, but when they hear your Warwick Davis diss track, they're gonna change their mind.
Mapuzo's wet,
Well, this Mapuzo's dry. You know what I mean? But it's wet with tears because he saw Anakin out there, dude.
Yeah, clearly I'm the problem.
All right, let's look at the Hollywood Reporter's article. A Disney sell to Apple? Don't count it out this time. Okay. So
hey, don't make fun of Peter Serrera. He's a nice guy.
What? I didn't make fun of Peter. Did Peter say that or something? Did Peter say that?
Yeah,
I didn't.
he's done it.
Yeah. I think, okay, I don't know anything about, I think I like Peter, but I'm guessing that Peter probably really wants this to happen because he's a huge, and I mean this respectfully, Disney fanboy. Like, I've been at Disneyland so many times, and him and his beautiful wife are there. They're just like hanging out. And I'm just like, hey, what's up, guys? They're like eating turkey legs. I'm like, cool, man. But they are living their best life, and I respect it.
Man, he gets paid to go to Disneyland. If we could have thought that one up,
right? Yeah,
the best of us.
So, facing the staggering problems afflicting all legacy studios, is Bob Iger contemplating a once unthinkable option? The signals he sent in Sun Valley suggest that it could happen. Now, this is the thing. This is all predicated upon the signals he sent in Sun Valley. Okay, so when we get there, we'll try to dig into that and see, how much water does this hold. So a few weeks before Bob Iger sat down for that CNBC interview in which he said Disney's linear TV networks like ABC and FX may not be core to the company's business. Wait, core? Apple? Core? Oh my God, you guys. He's practically fucking announcing it. No, I mean, come on. That's such a fucking stretch. A veteran Hollywood executive mused to the Hollywood Reporter on the possibility, there's the word possibility, this isn't factual at all, of a deal that would rock the industry. So once again, how do you come up with a fear-mongering article about rocking the industry during a fucking strike on the eve when the visual effects studios are also going to be joining the guilds? Well, look over here. Let's make this shit up, Apple, in case you don't know, the visual effects studios are looking. I think they're going to join IATSE. I can't remember if that's what it was specifically, but basically, the visual effects studios have had it with with Disney's bullshit, and changing things, working 3,000-hour days and shit like that for no reason, just because somebody decided, oh, let's change it from vampires to zombies. No, let's change it back.
Apple would just put nets around the animators' offices in case they wanted.
Let's be real. Apple would just get Rose Byrne. They'd just be like, put Rose Byrne in it. She's on everything on Apple Plus right now. There's this like Rose Byrne show where she's like doing aerobics, and it like seemed to pertain to my interests. And then I put it on for like 2 minutes, and it was super serious. And I was like, I just wanted to see Rose Byrne exercise. But anyways, Apple buying
Rick wanted Rose Byrne. I wanted the Pirates of the Caribbean chick.
You guys discovered that you're wrong. That Australian. It was all you and Rick.
Yeah.
Rick. I remember there was a feature on Rick casting the sports bar from Attack of the Clones, and you could tell that was just the best day of his life.
Oh yeah. We couldn't get him out the Hooters for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this would be
apparently Foster's is not Australian for beer. It's Rick.
This would be cooler if it was like Space Hooters, bro.
Oh, I know. Oh yeah.
It's your vision, George. It's your vision.
He has a tramp stamp of that on his back. Yeah, and written in tribal.
Right. All right. So it's an idea that keeps being discussed, even though many top executives have scoffed at it and many still do. So right here, they're like, no one in the industry is taking this shit seriously, but we're going to write the article anyways, because why not? Apple doesn't want to buy a studio, they say.
Nothing else.
And there's no way the feds would allow such a deal like that to go through.
Okay,
so,
hold on.
Yeah, go ahead.
We live in a neoliberalism hellscape. They would absolutely allow a huge deal like that to go through. Right now, if Apple wanted to buy the federal government, the Republicans would sell it. I'm telling you.
Well, they sell it to Russia. But anyways, where we're at with it is how do you okay? So if we pretend that rules exist,
the Republicans and the conservative Democrats, so you motherfuckers think I'm on a shill for
fuck them
current.
I hate them all. But the feds realistically should not allow it. If we're talking about like a fair and just society where the rule of law matters, and like because there would be nothing more monopolistic than Disney. See, okay, for instance, I saw somebody on Reddit going, oh, well, why are they fucking with the Activision deal with Microsoft? Microsoft is inherently a monopoly. Microsoft buying anything at all doesn't matter what, if it's fucking tacos, it's monopolistic. They have a monopoly in that market. And in this same way, Disney does as well. So if there were any rules,
they haven't been able to crack the handheld market. They can't get their hands around that. Nintendo's stolen that from their grasp forever, I believe.
Yeah, just copy Nintendo, dumbasses. It's fucking
They've tried that. They can't do it. Like,
it's not that hard.
Remember Milo? Remember the Kinect?
Oh yeah, the Kinect. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, when you make a Han Solo dancing game, that's all I fucking remember. At the end of the day. So that's where we're at there.
I gotta tell you, man, that was the best E3 for me and the worst E3. The best is I was at that Nintendo, with the Nintendo conference when they had the live orchestra and Miyamoto came out and conducted it, and I was like, this is the dream. And the worst was seeing what they did to Star Wars.
Yeah. I think that might have been the year Nintendo gave me the Twilight Princess shirt. I really appreciated that shirt. That was a good shirt. It was actually a good one. Was it that year? Or was that the year before? I can't remember now. It's all a blur. But
the only Twilight Princess, no, they had Skyward Sword on display at that time.
Oh, okay.
That was the big thing.
Yeah. So anyways, I don't that comment right there, you can argue that all you want. But we don't live in the real world. Shit that shouldn't happen with these corporations is happening constantly. Chances are the motherfuckers regulating it own Apple and Disney stock and will just go with it.
Disney should not have been allowed to buy the Fox stuff. Let's just be perfectly honest.
Right.
I mean, I wanted Feige and them to have X-Men back too, but at the end of the day, that deal was not good. In terms for consumers at the end of the day. I mean,
no.
And proof to point, just go look at the marketing for Avatar when Fox was on it, and watch the Disney marketing. Like it's a wonder it made the fucking money it did, but the marketing sure shit didn't help. Go watch the trailer for Avatar 1. Like,
why does Disney have to own all of Fox to own the fucking X-Men? Just sell the fucking X-Men. Like it doesn't have to go that way.
I know,
but they have created this binary of it's this or nothing because
and then it gives Rupert Murdoch, and then Rupert Murdoch gets $70 billion in the coffer to help tear down democracy as we know it. Any semblance of democracy we have left.
Yeah, if I had a time machine, I would definitely love to meal kick Rupert Murdoch's mom when she's pregnant with him, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I
wish ill on my enemies. I'm not a good person.
Oh yeah, no, I'd fucking milk
This is
the
why
shit out of
Santa
it.
sends me coal every year, and I get it.
You know what?
Yeah, I get it.
To right the wrongs of
What Santa
history.
doesn't know is I sell it back to the Russians, and I make my money back. So.
Hey.
I mean, not anymore because of Ukraine, but before then it was good.
Before, right. Well,
yeah.
All right. So anyways, so this right here, we could now cancel this out. So far in this article, we're like a few paragraphs in, we're absolutely fucking nowhere. Just to be real, like none of this passes any smell test. All of this is speculative at best. Okay. But this observer wasn't.
Santa's got a good question. Let's say Apple does buy Disney. How much changes?
Disney.
I'll tell you.
Disney.
Disney. I like that.
Disney.
I'll tell you what changes. People lose jobs. That's really all that happens. Like that,
Steve Jobs.
Thousands of jobs. I know. But thousands of unemployment and consolidation and divisions torn apart. Blah 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 blah. And so like it's just not good. It's not good for workers. It's not good for consumers, and it just means you're going to have less choice at the end of the day.
Also, going forward, like right now, we have Apple. Apple Plus is, in my opinion, the best and the hottest upcoming streaming service. The content that they've been making has been highly competitive. It's been very good. And
they got me to watch a musical, Jason. You figure that one out.
They got you to watch a musical. So
they put that singer in there, and I just can't help myself, Jason.
With what, Ariana Grande?
No, man, the blonde one. You'll know her. Okay. Go type in corn pudding into YouTube. You'll figure it out.
Corn pudding.
Yeah,
corn pudding XXX. No, but
yeah.
But
you're
anyway,
get me singing it. Don't do it. Corn pudding.
No, it's not in our best interest when all of these companies come together, because then they're not competing. Like even down to just the fucking basics of release dates and shit like that we have right now, where we can't release a Star Wars movie in this month because it's a Fox release of a Avatar movie of everything's stepping on its own toes. Everything is fucking just impossible.
Let me give you a real world example that happened recently in the last couple years, Jason.
Yeah.
Amazon bought Comixology, and for a year or so, no change. Oh, what's the difference? People got paid, so good, blah, 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 blah. Well, then they basically shut down Comixology by transferring all of its internals over to the Audible, the Amazon Kindle app.
Where are my Bill and Ted comics now? I have no fucking idea.
So you can't buy anything through the app anymore. It makes no friggin' sense whatsoever. You can't read or search for creators the way you used to, and it's largely it's a dead app. I had to delete it. I mean, I have my old books, but and I used to get tons of stuff from around the world: indies, French comics, German comics. It's dead. They completely destroyed it.
The comic.
And to the point now where like Marvel, one of these companies, their stuff's like not even like something about like, it was one of these things where they're like, well, like it's not going to work anymore because it went through the Comixology stuff, blah, 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 blah. And it's just, this is the thing, man. Like, I'm not saying, man, I know you come from an era where you're like, oh man, GM
I don't even know if he likes it. We're assuming.
I think he sees nothing's going to change. I'll tell you what will change, Santa. People will lose their jobs. Thousands of jobs, more unemployment. That's what. Go ask everyone from Blue Sky Studios what happened to their livelihoods when Disney bought Fox.
Mm-hmm. Well, look at what this next part says. But this observer wasn't so quick to rule it out. Quote, "I don't think Apple would buy the company as it presently exists," he said. "But if you see Bob start to divest things, that feels like he's prepping for a sell, and there's clearly no buyer like Apple." So a couple of things here. Number one, we don't really see Bob divesting very much right now. We've seen them pull back on productions and stuff like that, but there is no indication that has everything to do with the fact that they had overextended and were overspending. It doesn't seem like, we're holding production so that way the next owner can do what they want. It doesn't have that feeling to it whatsoever yet. And so it doesn't feel like he's prepping for a sell to me. and there's clearly no buyer like Apple. Now that last part is true, but in terms of like all of this stuff, yeah, like we want competition. We want there to be all of these independent streaming services that are vying for our love and attention. And when Disney owns them all, or Apple owns Disney, and who owns that, then we just start to lose it. You know, it starts to become.
Yeah. Did Blizzard become better when they merged with Vivendi and Activision? Like, did that
Not at
become a
all.
better
It
company?
died. It died. That's when it died.
It died.
In my opinion.
It
Yeah,
died. Like, so,
yeah,
like,
so
just
done.
creatively defunct. And look, I've personally worked with that company. I see how internally it's different, you know, like it is a giant and people that I worked with worked there before, and they were like, that's why I left, you know?
Yeah.
So like these giant mergers, man, it's just feudalism by, you know, like modern day
Mhm.
techno feudalism, you know, and it's
Yeah.
just a way to there's really is no way to keep doubling profits and value every quarter, every quarter, every quarter. So it's like when in lieu of like being able to say maybe we invented the next thing that will get people like to buy and stuff, it's like, well, let's just go buy things so we can pump up the value of our stock, dissolve all these jobs, liquidate everything, and then
Yeah.
sell the pieces off behind the scenes to like the embracer group, right? That
Yeah.
kind of bullshit. So then they can go defunct, and then all the things you love just end up in a weird IP vortex, legal vortex somewhere. I mean, what this is the weird. We're in weird capitalism, man. Like we don't really have another example. I mean, we have robber baronism, and we have the Middle Ages before that, and technically the Catholic Church, right? But like we don't really have we've never experienced anything like this. We have a government that's unwilling to challenge because they're completely bought out this stuff, you know? They're not protecting us. I just
Well, yeah, it's just like it's these companies aren't on the ropes. It's not like Disney is on the ropes. Like, oh my god, how's Disney going to pay the fucking Disneyland mortgage next month? They're not there. They don't need to do this. If they want to sell Apple branded iPhones, then get the fucking license to do it. You don't need to buy the company to do that. You could just buy the fucking license at the end of the day, because that's all that most of the people are gonna be like, oh, that sounds cool. They're thinking of their fucking Cinderella or fucking Pumbaa and Timon fucking iPhone. You know what I mean? It's like they can just license that if that and you can get that if that's something that the market truly wants.
they
But
can't even
anyways,
figure out what to do with Marvel right now. Like, what are they doing with their company? You know, like
but not long
ridiculous.
after that, Iger went on television and hung a possibly for sale sign on Disney's TV businesses. And just like that, it was a little more possible to see the outlines of a slimmed down Disney that could be tempting acquisition target. Okay, where is be a tempting acquisition target? Where's the evidence for this? What evidence are you talking about? Where's the fucking
Just
evidence for
conjecture. It's just
this? Is a huge
conjecture.
claim right here, though.
Yeah.
Where's the fucking evidence? What made you say this? Okay.
Campy, mentioned it on his podcast. So, you know.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
reading an article. I'm like, what are you fucking talking about right now? You know, I just don't fucking just don't see it. All right.
Someone said feudalism, and look who showed up. Right?
Santa is here. Santa is here to make you shut your whore mouth, Rob.
Hold on, Santa. I gotta go dig up the grave of Dudley Moore, just in case you get too rambunctious. You know?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. No, you guys are right on point. What I was thinking is, what businesses do Apple and Disney compete in? What
Right.
what overlap is there? So I've been involved in big corporate mergers before and buyouts, things like that. I worked for Bank One when J.P. Morgan bought it, and I worked for Bank One when we bought all kinds of other banks. And when there's overlap in business, that's when you see these huge job layoffs, because you don't need a corporate head of each of those companies
Okay,
doing each
I'll
of those
tell you
things.
one: marketing.
Yes, so marketing, exactly. So there's going to be some, absolutely, but Apple's
Streaming.
primary, that was the other question I asked in the chat, right? Is Apple's primary business is in technology, right? They do have
Hardware.
or slave labor, depending on your point of view, Santa, but sure, right?
Well, sure. I'm not an Apple guy. I hate Apple. Well, I had it when I was teaching, and then I didn't. But anyway, long story. I'm sort of not an Apple guy, but as far as technology goes, they do have Apple Plus, where they've been dabbling in media content. But which is the bigger IP, Apple Plus or Disney Plus, and subsidiary, say Hulu and all of that, right? Yeah, I would think that while Apple Plus has a big presence, that there's not a ton of overlap. There certainly is some, but that's not their primary business.
Don't we kind of run back into the old Windows Internet Explorer issue with the idea? The idea used to be that you have Microsoft has a monopoly on browsers by packaging Internet Explorer in with Windows. Therefore, everybody uses Internet Explorer. Therefore, you have this direct access to how people see the internet. And by making the hardware and then putting Apple TV on everything and giving everybody who buys your hardware Apple TV, I would call that an unfair advantage in the market, considering that how big like it is. So I'm surprised in a way that they're even allowed to be in that market, considering that they make the hardware in that way. But then I guess it's not necessarily on like Xbox making its own games. I guess maybe that's the way it's viewed. I don't know.
Maybe. So where I would see is in these streaming services, Apple Plus compared to Disney Plus. But what I don't
Santa,
see is Apple coming in and like gutting the head of Disney Studios or Marvel.
I know
Studios.
you don't, but hold on. You were
being mean.
You're trying. Let me
roll
you back. Let's just roll you back a couple decades here, Santos, for our younger audience, right? And let's just talk about. Remember a time when instead of companies buying things up because they were like them, they used to be this synergy thing in the 90s, right?
Yes.
We're gonna buy it. That's exactly how Disney ended up with ABC.
Yeah,
that's exactly how Disney ended up with ESPN.
How we got Friends.
It was right. No, we got Friends because The Edge failed. Fox failed us, right? If The Edge had taken off and Charlie Kaufman had managed to get them jokes to work, Jennifer Aniston would have stayed on that show, Wayne Newton, and we never would have got Friends as we know it, Jason, and would have took off. We all know Jennifer Aniston is why that show succeeded. So what I'm trying to say is, Santa,
I like her,
right?
I don't like Friends.
Is this is more of a classical synergy style would be a merger where it's
exactly
this thing plus that thing means we can expand and grow. That's how AOL merges with Time Warner. It's that kind of thing. And I'm telling you, that didn't do well for any of those.
Yeah,
didn't do well for AOL and it didn't do well for Time Warner.
Would Apple see it as a cheat code to growing Apple TV, like Apple TV Plus, whatever else
it's
called?
Just a way to bump up their stock value, so then they can do weird buybacks. Like it's a pump and dump. It's some form of manipulation that should be not just illegal in this country but worldwide, because it's a market manipulation game.
Well,
at the end of the day.
But you're right on the synergies bit. What it would do would be a net game of different industries within Apple's portfolio. So rather than just being a technology company, now they're a technology and media and entertainment and theme park company, right? Like it just expands the scope of their business across multiple industries. But does that give them a monopoly? Does that make it where?
I mean, but like right now, they're buying out the rest of Hulu from Comcast. Like how does that Disney is? How does that say they're divesting? How does that even? It
there
doesn't.
You go.
It doesn't even like fit that mold right there.
Yeah.
Like if they,
I don't believe the story.
No, yeah.
I was just talking about the merits of. Okay, well, how does this? When Santa was saying what would fundamentally change, what wouldn't change? And I'm like, okay, well, it would negatively affect both sides of the company. One, whether you see it now or don't see it.
Well,
just given history, show me how many Vivendi, Activision, how'd that help anyone? We lost all the good licenses, and Activision turned into a Call of Duty machine.
Well,
You know, like there used to be tons of games they made, and now they make Call of Duty. And I lost Santa, man, we had a whole game being made. We lost out to Call of Duty, you know? So like,
Yeah.
I don't know, you know.
Well, no, you're exactly right. I don't think it's going to happen. I was just playing the what if game. Like, let's pretend in our make believe world that it does happen, because then you have to, at the end of the day, say, okay, if they're going this synergy route, they want to be more than just a technology company. Well, one, how bad is Apple hurting to add other industries to its portfolio? Is Apple just not making enough money that in technology that they need to explore other industries to increase their revenue stream? I mean, that would be one reason you would, right? Like you would have, we try it here, right? We've got YouTube, and you've got Patreon, you've got Spotify, right? You try different ways. And, well, and I've got my in-person Santa visits, and I've got virtual Santa visits. Right?
That's his OnlyFans. Yeah.
Well, for the Santas, Jason, it's only hose. Right?
It's a way to increase your revenue streams. Is Apple hurting on revenue streams? That means that you just showed that chart where they've got that giant, like they're the biggest folks on the block, right? They're bigger than anybody. So why do they need a theme park business as part of their portfolio?
Yeah.
And when people start thinking about Disney Apple buying Disney, where we're seeing it specifically to Making Star Wars and Star Wars Santa is, oh, that means Kathleen Kennedy's going to get fired. Oh, really? So who is it that Apple has in their stable that's going to come in and replace all these studio heads?
Wow, they have a bunch of 8-year-olds that are like geniuses because they could build iPhones. So they thought
and truth be told, I don't know if people are aware of this. They actually send Seth Rogen and still pretending to be Woz. Like people can't tell the difference. They just send him in. Yeah.
I mean, and if there was anything real about this, I would imagine it would be, I don't think this is going to happen, but I would imagine it would be something like Apple would be interested in buying ESPN, because I can't see why Apple would want most of Disney, but I could see like why they might want ESPN.
Why?
Imagine if you have ESPN, you have the app on your phone, you have you know what I mean? That would be almost as lucrative as running an Apple TV service, because the amount of money you need to put those into production is chump change compared to.
Look, ESPN also comes with a big debt, because they have contracts with, everybody mentions like the Big 12 or SEC or different sports franchises, being NFL or NHL or whatever. Those are big, expensive contracts that they have, that they're trying to make money back on their
Santa.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know how this ties in some way, but I mean, Disney owns ESPN, but then they lost the cricket license, and they lost a big chunk of Disney Plus. So I'm like, I don't know how any of that works, right?
Well,
like,
Santa,
if you have
Santa
ESPN,
lobbied,
but you can't get cricket, like I don't know, how valuable are you really?
And elf tossing, to everyone's surprise.
We've been trying forever to get an exclusive license for the reindeer games.
Reindeer.
I mean, everybody's heard of the reindeer games, and there's just not enough exposure.
Santa tried to buy Ben Affleck on the dark web. That's what he's trying to tell you.
Well, but how it works is Santa's dropped into a forest nude. There's 12 reindeers, and if he comes back with all 12 of their heads, he wins. It's brutal, you guys. I don't think anybody's going to want it.
Silent fights, Jason. Right?
right. So the article goes on to say there's clearly no buyer like Apple, which is sitting on $62 billion in cash and cash equivalents, and
that's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's the problem.
All the cash, all the dead capital,
sitting on $62 billion. Look, I'm not a major economics guy, right? But I did once go on my "How did Alan Greenspan ruin the world" trip, right? And let me tell you something. One of the problems with having a gold standard, the things that neo-libertarians and Keynesian like economists try to throw out there, is like, we're gonna go back to gold standard. Problem with gold standard is people sit on it. They buy futures and they sit on it, and that stuff doesn't flow. And money has to flow to keep markets moving. And Apple and anyone sitting on a pile of cash is horrific. It's why you can't afford rent. Not just Apple, but every company. It's why things start to increase. You get inflationary issues, and then you get stagnating purchasing power. This is a real problem. That's the number one problem with this whole story, is that any company has 62 billion just in liquidity, not in like projected value, in total cash sitting around there.
Maybe they should end homelessness and just be the champions for the next 100 years. That'd be cool.
Yeah, like pay. Don't have your employees living in their cars. You know, how about that one?
Well, you know what? Let's let the writers lose their homes, because fuck them. That's where we're at with this, Rob.
I love Ron Perlman, man. Dude, there's many ways to lose a home.
I know. I was like, I hope Ron Perlman's like ready to retire, because I think there's going to be some ramifications for that when everything goes back.
So good, man. My hero of the year, MVP 2023.
They're like, hey, how about you play the Lion King's dad in that next live action movie, and you just don't kill me. All right, anyways. But yeah, so they have a 2.8 trillion market cap. And while it may be very true that Apple doesn't want to buy a studio, maybe it would want to buy this studio, the one that, despite the challenges of the moment, has a vault full of priceless IP and remains the most valuable brand in entertainment. Once again, this is a question. This is not a statement. This is an idea. This is a what if. So once again, we could strike it out. So far, we're well into this article, and there's absolutely nothing of actual value to this. There's been a long-standing special relationship between Disney. To be honest with you guys, I think they're fuck buddies. Special relationship between Disney and Apple. Steve Jobs served on Disney's board of directors from 2006 until his death in 2011. Iger joined Apple's board shortly after Jobs died, because he killed him. He resigned from that position September 10th, 2019. The same day Apple officially announced that it was getting into the content business through its Apple TV service. So that's when he's like, what? Apple Plus? We have Disney Plus. I gotta go. I feel betrayed. So some Hollywood execs have been anticipating a future in which the studio herd will continue to thin dramatically. And that is true. That is basically
I want to clear this up though, really quick, right?
Apple
has their own animation. Stephen Murphy says Apple has their own animation division now, consisting of Lasseter and former Disney Pixar people, which was their attempt to compete with Disney Pixar. No, that's Skydance Animation. They have a distribution deal off Skydance. That's not their own animation division. That's not the same as when Fox owned Blue Sky. That's closer to, I don't know if you signed a deal with like with Illumination. You know what I mean? I suppose like. It's a distribution deal. They don't own Skydance. Ridley Scott's company owns Skydance.
What Will's saying right now is very, very true. From what I understand, Will Morgan says 85% of Apple's supply chain is in China, and China is in demographic collapse. Apple didn't move AirPods to Vietnam until 2022 or something. They got to sink all their money in moving from China. Yeah, China basically eradicated too big of a generation, and they have all unskilled labor who know how to make iPhones, but the people are dying off who have these actual skills. They're not passing them down. You have children, adult children, I guess, or adults with 2 sets of grandparents to raise, and they're like have babies, and they're like, no, this sucks. We're already wiping these old people's asses. We don't want to put more in. And so, yeah, so that's the other side of this whole thing with Hollywood, where they keep talking about like, oh, how are we gonna crack, China in 10 years? There's not going to be that much of a middle class population in China to go watch the X-Men movies and the Star Wars movies. So Hollywood needs to really just give up on that dream, because by the time they get it going, it's over. And like, this is just math. And even if you believe that China isn't lying about their numbers, and we know they are, China inherently is a civilization just full of fucking lies across the board. In their best case scenario, they don't have that.
That's why we all think that sun bear is a person.
well, that's, I mean, but to connect it all, Winnie the Pooh is running China right now. So there is that.
couldn't help it. No, my wife and I said, if we saw that sun bear like in Canada, and they said, no, it's really a bear, you might believe them. In China, they said, no, it's a person. It's a real bear. And you're like, but is it? It's
But
China.
is it? It's
I
China.
don't know.
That's
Everyone's trying to figure out if a bear's real or not. That's where we're at for 2023. You know?
yeah,
Like,
Well, it's just China. They lie about everything. So
yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, it's true. Like China is in population collapse.
Well, and
it's
I
not
know,
even decline. It's
like
collapse.
near me in Ohio, they're building a big Intel chip factory.
Mhm.
Huge. I know a multi-billion-dollar investment from Intel to build chips here. Why?
wonder how that happened.
Well, there's a reason for it, right? There's a reason they're building it here instead of it's because of these problems they're having in China, and Apple's got to do the same thing, right? They've got to move some stuff out of China to have them built somewhere else. I mean, I got 5
Yeah.
acres of land in front they could buy from me, but
I
I don't think that's
Well,
what they're
no.
looking for.
no, it with like not to get too boring on the show, but with China's collapse, with its population collapse, especially, we are going to see the world sort of anti-globalize or start to deglobalize in a bigger way, because there's just not those little slaves to use anymore. They just won't be there. We'll have to go and find them somewhere else, unfortunately, because we are terrible.
We have kids, Jason. If you don't know if you noticed, McDonald's been putting them to work for the last couple years.
Dude, all I know is I got 2 kids playing Nintendo in the front room right now, and they could be making me some money. Anyways, so anyways, it goes on to say there will end up being
when we got demonetized.
Yeah, there will end up being 3 or 4 platforms, and everybody else gets hollowed out and acquired, says one industry veteran. There will be Apple, Amazon, Netflix, and one other. If you could put NBC, Universal, Warner's, and Paramount together, you probably have enough to survive. And for the record, yesterday, Paramount and Warner were talking about bundling together, about putting Paramount Plus with Max and going in together. Zaslav is saying we need to kind of get together before somebody else finds a way to bundle us together against our will. I don't know what that means.
Tubi. I believe it'll be a Tubi-like platform that's free with ads, and they'll be bundled together, and shows will come in and out, but that it will be free with ads, and that will take care of most of this stuff. I don't really care for the ads, but that's what.
Yeah, I think Zaslav's a fucking dinosaur, and his whole goal is to recreate the old cable model,
right,
using the current model. That's what he wants.
Yeah, like when someone just like that was that article that put out that if ships put giant kites on their thing, they can utilize wind power. And it's like, yeah, it's a fucking sailboat, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's a sailboat, guys.
And I understand there's more to the story than that, but at the end of the day, it's called a sailboat. Like,
yeah,
we're saying we're living in a weird time where we're reinventing old shit, acting like it's new. It's like, what is this? Like,
that's my life as a programmer. There's always another the new college grads come up with these brilliant ideas. You're like, oh, really? Go look at 1995. We did that.
And you know what the boss said? The boss said 57 channels and nothing on. Remember that song? Anyways, Warner's and Paramount. So anyways, the feds might have something to say about any version of that potential combination. Once again, that's because they need to make it sound like they can't just do whatever they want when they can, and they do.
Oh, grandstand.
When was the last time we really saw like a real like we see like the denial, and the denial comes with a caveat. They just lie and say, okay, we'll do what you said, and then they merge, and then they do what they want. So anyways, if Iger sees the world the same way, finding a home for Disney could be a temptation. And now that this part of it, once again, nothing was said, but Bob Iger, in the situation that he's in, could see like, oh yeah, like the guy made his whole career at Disney. From my understanding of it, I'm not a Disney historian. I kind of don't like Disney for the most part, but he made his career, he's loved for having the brains to say, oh, let's buy Marvel, Pixar,
here's the problem,
and stuff like that. And
the problem is, Jason, but the problem is he can't name a replacement. He tried that and it failed for their stock and business.
That's why selling the idea to Apple would make sense for him. It's an out.
So someone else would just be in charge of all that, and he wouldn't have to deal with it.
It wouldn't be his fault.
That's basically it.
Yeah, it wouldn't be his fault that whatever happens next, and if something good happens next, it's
As
because
Lando would say, "It's not my fault.
it's not my
It's
fault.
not my fault."
And he and as he famously said, "Ah!" Remember that? Return of the Jedi? All right. Anyways, multiple sources say Iger, having returned to the CEO job in November, has never faced more stress. I think that's true. Not only is he confronting an industry in transition, but much of the team that was with him in the good years is no longer at the company. General Counsel Alan Breverman and film studio chief Alan Horn, the Horn Dog, have retired.
Well,
I think Alan Horn is
still at Warner's. Yeah.
Alan Horn is consulting at Warner's like full time, right?
Yeah, if that's retirement, I'll take that kind of retirement, right? Saying like, just give me some millions to consult. Hey, you should hire James Gunn. Great, that guy I fired. Yeah, let's hire him.
And McCarthy got too close to Chapek, and she was collateral damage. It seems. This may explain Iger's
she married a
rapprochement.
one-legged model.
What, like Paul?
What?
Don't do that, Paul. What? Don't do it. We told you. We told Paul, get a prenup, Paul.
Binge, don't be marrying. Yeah.
No, Paul McCartney.
Herman. Oh, different Paul.
Not Paul Pee Wee Herman. His middle name is Pee Wee, right? All right. This may explain Iger's reapproachment with former top Disney execs Kevin Mayer and Tom Staggs, both of whom were passed over for CEO. You can't let Staggs in there. Staggs gonna make it all TNA, Oh man, come on!
It's like an '80s barbecue sauce where you're like, "We got Staggs." Oh yeah, Staggs is great. Yeah, I like that.
I'll have a Mickey burger with Stag sauce. Like that's what everything would be. Stag sauce. Both of whom were passed over for CMO, but have recently been named as consultants to the company. Bitches, you guys did get asked to the prom, but you still held her hair while she puked. Losers. The two are partners in their own business. Candle Media. Oh, Candle Media. They know the company well. And not only can they help figure out how to trim Disney Plus cost, but they can also assist in a possible sale of linear TV assets, including the ABC Broadcast Network and its 8 local TV stations, as well as cable channels like Freeform and National Geographic, aka the boring channel.
No, Jason, the employees call it Nat Geo. So,
Yeah, Nat
friends
Geo.
that work there. Yeah, they like to go Nat Geo. I'm like, shut up.
I knew Natalie Geo, and she gave my friend the herp. Okay. All right. Other holdings
10,000 herpy maniacs.
like Disney Channel and Disney Junior would seem to be of minimal value without the larger company's content and backing. Once again, with streaming, when content is king, all of these stupid extra channels don't mean anything anymore. That's why it has value, but it doesn't really have value. It's all a concept, and it's a waste of our time. And FX is a pretty good station for what it is, but without the programming hand of John Landgraf, and his team would seem to be devalued as well. One knowledgeable observer predicts Disney will load those assets with debt and sell to private equity. He believes the properties could be expected to generate $7 billion a year in profits. I've actually wondered if by putting those shows onto, like putting Andor, for instance, and stuff onto like FX and letting that happen, are they able to unload any of those shows' debts onto the, like, are they able to make a deal with themselves? Oh, we want to show Andor and we'll take a quarter of the debt, and then they crash it. It's fine. Anyways,
we'll check because Ms. Marvel's going to ABC, right?
I think it already did. Yeah. I thought I saw somebody watching it, and I was like, okay, who cares? But
I stopped buying cable TV in 2005, so I couldn't tell you.
So it could generate $7 billion in profits and would sell for $50 billion. Disney's linear network generated $8.5 billion in profits in fiscal 2022, though it's expected to decline as cord cutting continues. Disney could put $25 billion of Disney debt on the deal, cutting its debt load to $20 billion. So, once again,
maybe they should just change their network to X, and that'll solve all their problems.
Oh, that's a good idea. That sounds cool and new.
Yeah.
And if you love pornography, you'll love X. The company is already mulling a sale of the India businesses that it acquired from Fox, and it would not be surprising to see a sale of the majority stake in Nat Geo, perhaps in conjunction with a sale of the cable channel. Disney's 50% stake in A&E Networks would also likely be available to the right buyer. Hearst owns the other half. Oh, I haven't heard of Hearst in forever. The idea that
Comcast
Disney
will pick all those up, huh?
probably, yeah. The idea that Disney might sell is top of mind for some Wall Street analysts. Needham & Co. analyst Laura Martin has contended for some time that Disney could sell to Apple. Once again, could sell. Nobody's saying this is happening again.
They've also been predicting a true next-gen Nintendo platform for 20 years, but we still have yet to see one.
I'm still waiting for my Ultra 64. She predicts that Disney... What?
Dream Team. Dream Team.
Dude, remember that demo with like the dolphins or the shark or something that used to be? That was cool.
Yes.
She predicts that
very
Disney
familiar with
will be purchasing
Silicon Graphics and that whole era, Jason.
Yeah. They're like, you're gonna be able to do a T1000 in video games. Like, yeah. I'm gonna terminate it.
Oh, by the way, we're going to ROMs. No.
Oh man.
Yeah, nothing.
Don't worry, we're gonna make a CD adapter and that'll solve it. All right. Noting that takeover premiums for media companies have typically been in the 30 to 40% range. If they don't sell, Disney will be competing against those tech companies in an industry with deteriorating economics because they never need to make money from content. We believe, Martin wrote. That's I think that's such bullshit. I mean, like Disney itself has the gold. Like Disney has what all of these companies are hoping are going to live or die by. Do we create a Star Wars? Do we get a Marvel? Do we have a Pixar?
They can sell tangible goods. They have an actual physical representation of the IP at theme parks. People can go and pretend to be there. Like, it actually makes a difference. Apple has like, I hope you buy our phone because you believe in us. Good luck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And like people like on the Apple side are to the point where, oh, I bought like the last 3 iPhones, and since Steve Jobs has been dead, it hasn't really been worth it for me. Like
Apple's future is AR. So just so you know, folks, they're fucked. Like, I'm just letting you know. Like,
yeah, it's
I
a hard
3D. AR's
change.
bullshit. I'm sorry.
I like AR. I believe in AR. I believe in AR. I just don't think that these people are going to make it happen. I mean, like how we saw Facebook or whatever the fuck they're called now try to do what did they call it? The fucking metaverse. That shit's a joke. Like I still don't understand how that idiot spent all that money on that. I think he must have a really big coke problem, and he's just pretending that he spent the money there. But not everyone is so bullish on a deal. Anthony Sabino, an attorney and professor at St. John's University, and a self-described insane Disney fan, says Iger's contract.
He went to his office and he's like, I'm an insane Disney fan, right?
Yeah. I'm crazy, you guys. I'm talking to myself about Disney. All right. Says Iger's.
I got Eisner's corpse in my closet. Hold on.
Oh, wow. I have an Eisner body pillow. Don't ask.
He's got him in a bed the way like Anthony Perkins had Mother in a bed, right? Like he's got Eisner in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Says Iger's contract extension and potential sale of Disney's linear TV assets demonstrates that Disney's board, want him to guide the company, and there's no thought of him selling off the company. Which once again is that's just his opinion.
Lucas was buying Star Wars.
Yeah. Any deal that Disney makes would be sure to invite tough scrutiny from the Biden administration, which has been aggressive in suing to prevent significant deals from being completed, albeit with mixed results. Oh yeah, we're going to pretend that Biden's not fucking weekend at Bernie's in this whole thing right now. You know what I mean? He's not there.
Activision, Microsoft, they did a good job stopping that one.
He came in, he said, no, he's all, I love gaming and I'm going to stop this now. You know, he really put his foot down on that one. All right. So it's a given. It's an absolute certainty that if there was some talk of Disney merging with somebody else, that it would be scrutinized, which is true, to the nth degree by the FTC, by the Department of Justice, Sabino says. Yeah, until they said, okay. So that would be basically walking into a bear trap, and I'm not sure any company would be willing to get immersed with that. And once again, I know this is a lot bigger than that, but when they were buying Star Wars, the trades also made these kind of deals saying, oh, it might get squashed, you guys, because that's a monopoly. And it's like, that's okay. Okay.
No, I mean Star Wars Monopoly. They made plenty of those.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
they
yeah.
got that
The
stupid
Disney's
Boba
taking
Fett
money off
Monopoly game. Remember
off
that one? Remember?
Oh
I
man.
really miss the days of watching Meg try to like peer into
Oh,
the
man.
board of Boba Fett Monopoly and pull out the secrets to that series. You know.
You know what the scariest part is when you look into the Star Wars Monopoly board is when it looks back. You know. All right, a Republican administration.
Joe Pierre.
Yeah. A Republican administration may prove to be more lenient when it comes to a major deal, although it was the Trump administration that tried and failed to stop A&T's acquisition of Time Warner.
They're all
Because
bought
they're
off.
not,
No one's
yeah,
stopped.
they're not,
Yeah.
yeah, none of them are stopping anything. Like that's
Right.
why I'm like, why is this article even pretending that that's the case? But anyways, I mean, like the actual area of overlap between Apple and Disney are not that significant. Nowhere near the overlap of, say, Disney Fox's acquisition. Once again, you're disproving your own fucking point, article. You're literally disproving why everything you said before is extra bullshit, which took down a legacy studio. The issue would be the sheer size and power of the combined companies. But a pair of recent lawsuits, one from the FTC and another from the DOJ, could be relevant to any Disney deal. Most recently, the FTC has faltered in its efforts to block Microsoft's takeover of the video game publisher Activision Blizzard.
Shit.
Oh, really? Now you mention that. It's a similar situation, you don't say, with a tech giant and a platform owner seeking to acquire what is first and foremost a content company. Microsoft preemptively promised to continue making key games available to competitors like Nintendo and Sony, a decision that was pervasive to the judge in the case, providing a possible roadmap for Disney deal with the tech giant. So all they have to do is say,
no,
baby.
they'll just promise. They'll promise to sell $12 Dole Whips, and then we're all good. We can just sell. No. Okay.
And you can get Dole Whip anywhere. I took the kids miniature golfing. They had Dole Whips there. They had it there.
Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah, it's not the same. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, okay. Something about the price tag and cheap skewers across, you know. It's not the same thing. Yeah.
So, anyways, Microsoft apparently promised, so all of that we know was all just like game. We're just gonna say what you want us to say and then do what we want to do later. That's how it works. On the other hand, the Justice Department had a big win when a judge blocked Paramount's sale of Simon & Schuster to Penguin Random House in 2022 because we were in a pandemic. We was bored, I guess. But that one is still weird. Like that's like the least egregious of any of these. Anyways, the DOJ made a monopsony argument, naming that the merger would be harmful to authors looking to sell their work. With all logical Disney buyers already owning their own studios, the government could make a similar case. They could, though one source speculated that Disney could offer to preemptively divest some studio assets, which once again, they could offer and then just not do it. Like 20th Century Fox did in sorts like Pictures to keep the levels of competition in the market stable and forestall a monopsony case. I need to look this up. I am ignorant of this word. I'm not going to pretend that I know what that is. Do you know what that is, Santa? You know what
it's Monopoly, but it features Morbius and Venom. It's a really fucking lame ass game.
It's a single buyer that acts monopolistic. So Apple has all the money.
A single buyer substantially controls the market as the major purchaser of goods and services offered by many would-be sellers. Okay, got it. Loyal Disney, they got all the cash, all the Monopoly money. How's it going, Penny? I'm in the middle of a show. Want to say hi? Say hi. Say hi. I understand that my dad's doing a show and now he'll be done pretty soon. Mostly. Hey,
mostly.
The aliens are going to get you and Ripley. You better watch out.
Mostly.
Oh, really? Stop it. Just scared away. Just say, get out of here, bird. There's a bird trying to get our little tiny birds. So I just told her to patrol the backyard. All right. Loyal Disney fans, many of whom are shareholders, would be wary of a tech company's commitment to Disney's core entertainment and theme park businesses. It's a group that includes Sabino. The uproar from Disney shareholders would be insane, he says, but with more than 1.8 billion shares outstanding and with more than 60% of those shares held by institutional investors, Disney's retail shareholder fans may not have what it takes to block a deal. There's one person who's been thinking about a deal between Apple and Disney for years. In his memoir, 2019 memoir, The Ride of a Lifetime.
Oh, motherfucker.
It's the ride of a lifetime.
Fucking
Oh,
hate
I
this
got
guy.
a house. Nobody else has houses. What a ride.
His fucking
What a
masterclass is ridiculously stupid too. Go watch it. Yeah, just go watch it.
After you told me that, I went on YouTube and I saw like a master cut of it of just like stupid shit he says. He just does a bunch of platitudes.
If that isn't a reason to rise up and riot, you know, and for union rights, and I don't know what is.
So in Ride of a Lifetime, Iger wrote extensively about his friendship with Jobs, who had founded Pixar and sold it to Disney in 2006. Also believed in a fruit diet and may have also been kind of just a chucklehead too, to be honest with you. Before there was a pandemic, before he returned from retirement to manage Disney facing enormous challenges, Iger wrote, I believe that if Steve were still alive, he would have combined our companies or at least discussed the possibility very seriously. So there you go. That means this is all true. That's it. That's it. That was the article. And so what we end up with is this headline hitting social media. We have the old Ryan Johnson joke. I read a tweet from a New Yorker article about it though. That's what this is at the end of the day. That's all.
Yeah, man, I'm a big fan of Kim Masters, but this article is.
Did Santa put himself out, or did I put Santa out on accident just now?
I don't know. I didn't. You did it.
Put him back. I did it. All right, well, I'm gonna put Santa back. Maybe Santa doesn't want back in.
Oh, he's on a call. He's on a call.
But yeah, he wants out. We'll put him back in. What's he gonna do about it? Sorry, Santa. Oh, he's on the phone. Okay.
I like watching his little window while you talk, and he's just on his phone.
He's like, ho, no, children.
He talks on the phone the way we try to talk and drive, right? Like I'm not really on my hands free. I'm holding with one hand. Like,
yeah,
man. Whatever. Anyways. Man, look, like I said, I'm a big fan of Kim Masters, but this article's, I don't know. Can't win them all, I guess.
Steven says there is an earnings call today. So was that just put into, was that somebody from Disney trying to shake stuff up? I don't know.
Dude, the value of their company would be triple if they were firing on all creative cylinders. They're not firing on all creative cylinders. They're fucking shit up left and right creatively. That's the problem. In an IP content venture area, if they were killing it, maybe stock would be at all-time record highs. They'd be swimming in cash and blah 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 blah. And so this is really the problem of like just doing fuck all with your company. Like, hey, what do we do after Avengers? I don't know. Put out 1 million fucking things so we'll put out something for everyone so no one knows what the fuck we're doing anymore. Like. Good job, stupid. What are we going to do with Star Wars? I don't know. We'll just spend money figuring it out until we don't figure it out. And then we'll put it all on Dave Filoni so he can crash and burn. You know what I mean? Poor guy. I mean, like this. What's John doing? I don't know. We'll have him write all the series. That's smart. That really worked out well for you,
Well, what we end up with are probably a lot of consumers who are
Starship.
Who were like, oh, it would be cool if I bought an iPhone and it had the Imperial March ringtone pre-installed. But that's all just stupid shit that they can do. They can just make a licensing deal for that. We don't have to.
Yeah, did that move Android licensing Droid? Did that work out? Like, how'd that work out? Like,
I don't know.
Come on, man.
But yeah, so all of it, in my opinion, garbage. Will it happen eventually? That's the way capitalism works. So yeah, probably. What was that game called from PlayStation, Rob, where it's like that trash ball and it just keeps getting more trash?
Katamari Damacy.
Yeah, that's capitalism, right?
What do I bring to the show? That's it right there.
That's how I need you, man. I would just sit here going, what was that called for like 20 minutes if you weren't here.
Love that,
but yeah. So I mean, it does stand to reason that that's likely to happen. It could happen. I'm also kind of the opinion that if it did leak out, it could actually compromise it happening. too. And this is like the second article from the trades in like a very short time, but it makes me think that that's not happening. I feel like if it was leaking out too, if there were things actually leaking out, this article would have been written very differently. It would have been very, very, very different. It would have been like there's rumblings, there's rumors, we're hearing this, and then it would get a little crazy even. And it's just not doing that.
The sad fact is, Iger fucked the company with Disney Plus. That's it. That's it. His last big legacy was Disney Plus, and that just saddled him with a shitload of debt. You know?
Yeah. So Arya asked, does Bob Iger's position get changed if Apple buys? In theory, if Apple was to buy the company, then their board and the organization would shift in that. And that would probably be the moment that Iger bounced. I see Iger only doing this to get out of what he does as a winner. That's the only reason why I could see Iger wanting to actually do this, is he gets to hand it off, and any problems that are coming in the future aren't his problem. And then it becomes somebody else's. We can't hear you, Santa.
Anna,
I think your sound is muted.
I've looked around at the talent pool here, and we got nobody. So
yeah,
I mean that's what it'd have to be. I tried Chapek; he was the best I got. I got nobody else, so we got.
It's like my second choice was Zaslav, and look where that went.
right.
Yeah, there's only so many thumbs in this industry, Jason. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
What's Joe Rogan doing? Did he want to run the company?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when you get down to it, like Iger was sort of a quote rock star in comparison to anybody else who they were going to be able to like name to that position. And then you have COVID-19 pandemic break out. Then you have not economic collapse, but lots of calamity at least. You got people trying to, just live, and they're not going to Disneyland. They can't go to Disneyland. All this stuff is terrible. So whoever got that position was screwed, was just in a bad place almost no matter what. I think Chapek sucked. He is not good, but at the same time, like it was, if Iger had never left, it would probably be in much of the same turmoil that it's in. And for the most part, Chapek just continued a lot of that. And Quentin Rothman, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. I appreciate it. It was blank, so if you had something to say, go ahead and say it, and I will read it. But if that was just that, thank you. Sam, what does Sam say? Sam says, I think the stream model is effed fundamentally because you have to put a lot of capital to create content without any way to recoup those costs from other than subscribers.
Yeah, and here's the thing too with that, like, there's nothing in any of these Star Wars shows on Disney Plus that couldn't have been aired on ABC television. That's it. There's nothing, there's no content in any of this that isn't cable TV friendly, period. Matter of fact, I'm watching stuff on Buffy that's more hardcore than anything we've seen in a Star Wars show. So they could have made these shows and put them on cable television and with advertisers and all that other stuff, and then license the content digitally onto Netflix or something else after the fact, or sold it on the discs and made all their money back one way or the other. There's just nothing. All this is done. They put them all out to hype up the subscription, but we've learned over the last 3 years that has not been enough to make that financially viable.
Well, that's just because they have had like unlimited budgets, right? We've talked about that as well. I think the budgets need to come back into alignment on a lot of these shows and things that they make for exclusives.
Tom Hanks as Geppetto.
Well, look, physical media is largely dead, right? The direct-to-consumer market now is streaming, and it's an attractive revenue stream. When you go back through COVID and you look at where Disney Plus exploded in its subscriber base, like overnight, that's a lot of money coming in every month. Right? They're raking in the cash.
But it takes $1 billion a month to run a viable.
Well, there you go.
Platform.
There's the issue is a couplefold. One is, what's the just maintenance cost? Like if they weren't create anything new at all, and just keep the servers up, keep the
just like a library service, an archive,
archival
service.
Yeah. what does that cost compared to the revenue they make? Now, of course, they would lose subscribers, and we go back to what I think you mentioned earlier, Rob, or Jason, I can't remember, is this idea where we've got to make twice as much money this year as we did last year, and it's always this upward trajectory. Well, what if you're making, truckloads full of cash, and it's profitable, and it just remains to be profitable? Like you grow at 2% instead of growing at 20%. Is that the end of the world? Or what the investors are saying is, well, 2% is not a great return on my investment. I can make more than 2% with this other thing. And so they shift their money, right? So are they not growing fast enough? And are they putting too much money into some of these new series? Those budgets on those things have got to come in alignment for direct to consumer.
But these series, Santa, but all of these streaming platforms are predicated on one simple rule: new subscribers, not maintaining.
Right. But see,
the business model is built on that. And so when Iger and them then shift go, we're actually about keeping, that is not how there's no reason, there's no justification for even having it at that point, because the financials are not there to between residuals and maintenance and all the other stuff you need. The money would be in the IP that you then license out, so money's coming in, and advertisers are then paying those people to have, like, the old model is what works financially still to this day. Nothing has surpassed it. This is just a giant flavor of the week Bitcoin pump and dump scheme to inflate value, blah blah blah, and hope it's magical thinking economically. It's magical that hopefully, like, if we put a seed in there, it will manifest trillions of dollars for all of us, and it hasn't worked out.
Most of the people in the industry who I socialize with have the opinion that a lot of the people that control what gets made and aren't actual real tastemakers. They're complete fucking idiots who just know a name and then throw the cash at it. So like I'll pick on JJ because why not? And it's like you give JJ Abrams this really huge deal and then he produces absolutely nothing for you. So like they definitely need to start looking at things like, let's not throw 100 million at
Silicon Valley thinking, though, Jason.
Yeah, I know.
Silicon Valley VC thinking, we just throw all this money at it, it'll churn out some kind of industry disrupting technology or something that something will happen, and then it doesn't happen.
But you said something, Rob, that you said that retaining subscribers isn't enough. That's a lot of money, though. Like retaining subscribers is critical to growing subscribers. If you're losing them faster than you're gaining, right?
I'm not a financial expert, but I can assure you that if you go pull open the little, there's an equation somewhere that shows you these only work. And I can prove this in a way, just tangentially, by the way Netflix has maintained their model. They only care about first click buys. Like when people come on, what's the first thing they need? New subscribers. Maintaining isn't enough to keep everything going.
Yeah, it just isn't. I get that. But at the same time, I think that's only because of the cost of bringing new content in. And as you said, with all the residuals and all of that they're fighting with the unions on now, all that is certainly
the plum spot to be in is the classical model of make a movie, put it in a theater, sell it tangentially, then license it back. Nothing has replaced that. They're all trying to disrupt these markets in the way that Uber disrupted the taxi market or PayPal disrupted the bank market. And it hasn't really worked out. It works out for like 3 people and everyone else gets screwed in the back end. And that is Silicon Valley VC thinking style mentality. Like it's the Big Short.
You're right. But they were shortcutting it. But I think that's why we're seeing now a push to get back to creating theater content. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so that you get back into that regular, and instead of licensing it out, you license it to your own streaming service, direct to consumer, right? Mm-hmm. But that's where
except that if you know it's going to be there on the streaming service in a certain amount of time,
right?
Then why go see it in the movie? They're fighting that problem. They're fighting that problem.
And that's not going away. Like even if you license it out to say Netflix, right? Netflix still has to figure it out the same way.
Then creatively, Santa, which gets back to my previous mention, then creatively you have to get to the point where the demands you go see it now. You don't want to wait.
Yeah.
right?
hard to do,
Like
though.
that, and they're not at that position right now. Creatively, they're in a create as much as you can, create a volume of content for everyone. So everyone's ticked off the box. And it's like, that's if that worked, there'd be a candy bar for every flavor
Well,
profile. It's not how it works.
that's what Max tried to do. They were like, if the mother-in-law wants it, they're gonna keep it. And like all the Max content, I was like, I'm out. I'm like, I don't want Discovery Plus content. That stuff is so lame. I don't want to watch people paint their kitchen. I would rather die than watch people paint
Jason,
their kitchen.
did you ever watch the show
know?
The Edge?
No, I would rather die.
So it was a sketch comedy thing that went on.
Oh,
in
the Edge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put my
But
balls
the
in
first
it.
episode, I
I'll
went
put my
on
balls
a
in it,
trip
Rob.
back on it.
Rob,
But
I'll put my balls in it.
Show was so ahead of time. It's because
Remember that?
Charlie Kaufman was writing. But there's a joke thing they did the very first episode that was a spoof of cops called The Exterminators, and it was bad bugs, bad bugs. And it was like they're just them following around an exterminator all day because they need to produce cheap content. And I'm like, that is Discovery Plus. That's Zaslav to a T. That is all of what TV has become. Like what was a joke is now the norm.
Oh yeah,
sorry,
go ahead, Senna.
No, they're really replacing the cable networks, right? They
The
used
only thing
to.
that's going to replace the cable network, Santa, in my opinion, is the only thing I've seen that I've had to put my money in it would be the Tubi format, which is essentially a cable network that streams, that has ads and is technically free, and you can.
But they want to
watch.
get that. They all want to have their own. That's the thing, right? Nobody wants to give that money to somebody else to make, and then have to work on contract negotiations and licensing deals, and we want to be able to show it on our platform whenever we want. We don't have to want to wait 5 years for this to expire before we can show it here.
Zaslav and Discovery Plus, they own that on classic cable. Yeah. Now they're trying to recreate streaming in the image of classic cable, where they still own all of that stuff.
Yeah,
that's what I think like he's doing. Yeah,
and they've all willingly given up physical sales like idiots. Like. And so they're no one wants it anymore. They know, no, they do want it. You just sold everyone that they don't. Go check out. I'm willing to see. I want to see the numbers on Mario Blu-ray sales. I'm willing to bet,
Rob. It's with Disney, because I've actually talked to them about this. People at Disney, they don't want to put The Mandalorian out on like 4K Blu-ray, whatever the hell it's called these days, because they want Disney Plus to be the only way to get it. They want to make sure that we get used to that subscription and then just never cancel it. They see that as a win in the end. But in actuality, what they've lost from all three of us probably is about $150 worth of box set sales that they all would have had. Yeah. And then we would have had the subscription because we want to watch Ahsoka on the 23rd.
Right.
And so they are actually doing that incorrect. And they are hoping as an industry to murder physical sales. That way we are locked into giving them a monthly thing, and then we just get used to that kind of format. But in reality, they are losing more money. They are doing the wrong thing. I would have impulse bought every single show when all is said and done in physical media right now, and then still had a Disney Plus subscription for the.
Well, we would buy entire seasons of Smallville, for example. I've got the boxes of each of the seasons of Smallville. Yeah, I would do that with Mandalorian.
Yeah, of course you would. Why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
Yeah, as like a fan of the show and all that, it's and yeah. So Shogun Order, thank you for the $5 super chat, bud. It says, and thank you for always supporting the show. I notice and I appreciate it. How far out do you think they map out these major buyouts? Like when they bought Fox, could they have been wondering about Apple buying them?
My experience says that happens very fast.
Very fast.
Sometimes within a matter of days at most. In some cases, it's hours. Like there's something happens in the market that makes somebody need the money now.
Yeah.
Now, and then they find a buyer now, and it happens like overnight. It's typically it's hours or days. We're not talking months or years. They're not planning this out, 18, 36 months or anything crazy like that. If Apple is in the market to buy Disney, they're doing it now, not. So that's why this kind of speculation goes right along with All the other stuff that just goes for year over year over year. You know, Kathy Kennedy's been fired, and it's the same nonsense. Eventually, she's going to retire, but will Apple ever buy Disney? Well, you can speculate that forever.
Yeah.
And it's, how are you ever going to prove?
Hey, you
no?
know what? Screw physical phones. Let's do digital iPhone. You know what I mean? The
Ooh.
iPhone streaming app. You know, you don't need a phone. Just
Yeah.
right?
It's just
Move it all
nuts.
digital. Screw physical sales. No one wants that.
I think, Jason, you talked about it before. Disney isn't strapped for cash. The only thing that has people kind of in this mindset is that Iger kind of floated some balloons, a week or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're like, oh, there's a fire.
And he said the word core, and apples have a core. He's
now, I think
signaling to you.
You've said this before. I could see an exclusive partnership with them, sort of a marriage that then later they could get divorced, but not a buyout where they become one company. I just don't see where's the benefit for Apple. Where's the benefit to? It just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I can see it. I could see it just eventually happening because, like, just they have all that capital and they make the offer and they're just like, okay. Or Iger's just like, I want to get out of this. Okay, I'm going to suggest we do that. I could see it. I can see it happening, but there has been absolutely no evidence for it. There's been nothing that actually suggests this is happening or would happen at all. It's complete like BS. And to bring it back to Star Wars, which is something I should have been doing more this episode. If you go and you do that, like, let's just say you hate Kathleen Kennedy or you love her and you're concerned about her career. When you're Apple and you go and now you own it, you go, well, who could run Star Wars better?
Right.
I don't know. Nobody does.
Not Lucas.
So it would
no
just
offense. End up, he wasn't running it too well 20 years ago. So
well,
the
people,
he damn near bankrupted
like,
his company in 2008. I mean,
well, the people who don't like Kennedy did not like when Lucas was running up. They just pretend that they do now because the past is always better than the present. You know,
I just want everyone to know.
You can't grift on 20 years ago.
No, I play Battlefront 3 with Chet every day, and I don't let you play it because
Did you just call your son Chet? Because your son's name is Jet.
I said Jet.
You don't know your son's name, do you?
Huh? Well,
you forgot.
I watch a lot of weird science. I get them confused.
Jet. Oh.
It's just great. Look, I could definitely see a partnership. I could see where, you know, at Disney parks, there's exclusive iPhone or, you know, Apple stuff.
Phone integration.
It's not going to make Indiana Jones the ride work better. Like, it's not going to.
No.
Well, and I think this article or something else brought up that Disney was flirting around with a VR technology.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Tomorrowland will just become Apple Land, right, Santa? They'll finally figure out the look of that whole little area.
But right? At the same time, they could just, you know, hop in
bed
on
all the rides to keep people
in bed with Apple,
killing themselves.
Let their VR be the exclusive Disney experience.
Right? I just want to see DeSantis change to an Android phone as he rage quits the Apple phone today out there in Florida. But
I could just see it going that way. Like, Disney doesn't need in the technology market. They don't need in that. Apple is killing it. They've got all the money. So why not sign a deal with Apple where you partner and you want your exclusive Disney park experience on the VR? You have to have Apple's VR.
Yeah.
That's the only way you can get it. You know, that kind of thing.
Because every family is going to give their kid a $1,500 VR AR headset to walk around in
you haven't been to Disneyland
for 9 hours a day.
Sure. They would do it. The Disney people are crazy. They are insane, Rob. They are like Comic-Con people look so normal. You go to D23 and you will be like, this is nuts. And then you go to Disneyland and it is crazy there. I do think they would do it, Rob. But you're right though. Your average sane person would not do that. I would not do that. I would not buy my, you know, but at the same time, I do think AR is the way that things are going to go.
Yeah, VR, AR.
AR mostly, because like an AR you could turn like a pair of sunglasses into screens, and you could do the stuff with the VR headset, like it goes on, it's like a whole thing. But kids like around 8 or 9 years old right now, they like if you go in the metaverse, it's
So long
hilarious
as
because it's
we-
all 10-year-olds. It's all like
So
10-year-olds
long as
going,
we are
"Ah!"
stuck with lithium batteries, nothing's gonna get.
So
Nothing changes. We have a battery problem.
you think it's
Solar,
you think
all this stuff
LK99
won't
is
work
going to
because
save
we
us?
don't have we can't store solar or green energy. We have a battery problem.
Yeah.
This world needs to solve batteries. That's
Yep.
the problem.
Yep.
I was following the LK99 stuff like so close, and yesterday I think it was confirmed that LK99 is not.
The
not
recipe
gonna
was for a
happen.
mortar and pestle, Jason. What
was-
do you want? Like,
Well, the paper itself, was not published when it was supposed to be published, but I mean it did make stuff float. That was cool. That was metal, but whatever.
you can make a frog float, Jason.
Well, yeah,
made of
but
water.
that wasn't a room temperature with but they were right for the floating frog. They were still like cooling stuff down to like an insane amount or something like that. Anyways, yeah, like I said, I don't think any of this is going to come to fruition. I don't think if they bought it today, I still see them throwing the same creatives in the mix that are in the mix now. They still would probably go with that. Who's the rock star filmmaker du jour who can deliver Star Wars to us as George Lucas once did? That's
Greta
what they
Gerwig.
would say. And then
Greta Gerwig is going to be doing the Rey trilogy. You'll see.
I liked Barbie. I liked the Barbie film a lot, but that idea would be probably awful. You know what I mean? Like I don't.
I do.
I don't see her. Yeah. I actually, like I said, I liked Barbie a lot. I thought it was visually flat and ugly. I think it looks more like Attack of the Clones than a modern film. The Barbie Land stuff I know is supposed to look artificial, but I also think it was kind of flat looking and shot kind of flat looking. And I really enjoyed it as a movie. It didn't ruin it for me, but I'm still like, let's see what happens with those filmmakers, But anyways, anything else to add before we call it a day? Like on this one, I mean, yeah. Until
I don't really add anything to the show, Jason. So I don't know if I'm going to be helpful with this one.
Well, that's true. But you're an incel rapper. I'm an incel rapper, and we stick together.
SoundCloud.
SoundCloud incel rappers. But I
that
don't,
should be our band name.
we're the SoundCloud incel rappers. Then we get sued by SoundCloud. But anyways, no, I just until the trades start coming out with firsthand sources claiming this is happening, just don't take it seriously. And all of the daydreaming that's going to go on from the grifters and stuff like that is just going to be the same boring drivel. That just LARPing, that they live in a reality where their wildest dreams come true and their ideas are relevant to modern society, when this is not the case ever.
Well, it goes back to what you were saying. Like, tie this all back to Star Wars. It all comes from a group of folks that are just obsessed with Kathy Kennedy's career, and that this might be a different chapter in the leadership of Star Wars. So they don't care who buys Lucasfilm; they just want somebody to buy Star Wars.
Yeah,
and at the end of the day, and that's why I went to the very first question. At the end of the day, even if in some make-believe world, Apple bought Lucas or bought Disney, right? The parent company, they're not buying Star Wars; they're buying Disney. What's the chances they're going all the way in to replace the studio heads of Disney, Pixar,
Santa?
Yeah,
Santa. I've simplified this months ago, and I'm gonna just make it real clear for everyone. The second Disney built Galaxy's Edge, that's it. They're never selling Star Wars. You just don't understand. That's it.
Well, and even
they
if they
two Galaxy's Edges, they're never.
But if your grift is that Galaxy's Edge is a failure and there's nobody in the park, and that's
Try
what
to
you've
get
been doing
into
for
it.
2 years. You know, it's
try to get into Galaxy's Edge. It's crazy.
yeah. But that is a thing that they've done. Like I remember one time there was like a thing where you were able to enter into the park with a reservation. And they went and somebody got in at like 9 a.m. and then like took pictures like, look, there's nobody here. And it's like, well, you were the first people in the park at 9 a.m. Yeah, there was no one there. Have fun. But
yeah, I remember those days at Disneyland when you could go to Indiana Jones and it would be empty, right? First thing in the morning. I guess that means they're gonna sell Indiana Jones.
Hey, surprisingly, I don't like the Indiana Jones ride. I think it sucks. I think
when it works, it's good, but it needed to be a minecart.
It's just yeah. If they've sold the whole company, they're still not selling off Disney, and some guy with a YouTube channel with 3 million subscribers isn't buying it either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's not happening.
Not happening. Yeah. So anyways, if that did happen, chances are it would be for the worst. But who knows? Or maybe it wouldn't matter at all. But for what our intents and purposes are, because most of us don't care about the Lion King, the musical film by Lin-Manuel Miranda, or whatever they'll do someday. We don't care. We only care about the Star Wars side of it. So probably wouldn't matter to us anyways. But Sam gave $5 super chat and said for Rob's contributions. So see, Rob.
Thanks.
Rob, you do matter to this
Jason,
show.
you owe me $5 now because Jason's gonna pocket that $5. Like
I am going right after this show. I'm getting a jumbo jack. I'm gonna get a jumbo jack and
you
say
bastard.
Yep.
Hot off the grill, extra mayo.
Hot off the grill. Extra mustard. All right, I'll do it. It's your 5. I'll do it. But anyways, yeah. So we'll be back tomorrow talking about whatever the Star Wars news du jour is, if there's anything to talk about. Thank you to everybody for being a channel member, for being a Patreon supporter, for the super chats today, and for liking the video and all that kind of jazz. And don't forget, you can listen and watch the show on Spotify as well. So if you want to listen to this as a podcast, because sometimes we do go long, like today we went like an hour and a half for the day's news. And if you might want to listen in your car or something like that instead, you can do that on Spotify. Just look at the Making Star Wars show.
And if you want to hear us complain about Star Wars, tune in 2 weeks to Ahsoka Episode 1 review, right?
I'm ready. Yeah, we're gonna do that one.
Can I give you a little complaint really quick before we go? Little complaint, little, right?
Yeah, you can do that, Rob.
I don't think any of the marketing's been bad.
You made $5 today. You made $5 today, Rob. You can do it. You're allowed.
I'm net even for my subscription for this show. So
well, not really. I'm gonna
there's also zero personality in the story so far. I don't see anything human. This is all very stoic, pseudo mystery. What's gonna happen? No personality. Just no real clear tone. No, I don't know. It just feels very surfacey.
I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I was talking to a couple of other Star Wars writers, and they have all basically said the same thing of this marketing has been so boring that when something new comes out, I can't even be asked to go write anything up about it or to talk about it or to ponder it. It's not inspiring me to write a think piece or anything like that. There's just nothing. And
there's a part of me, Jason, that wants to go to AI and say, could you give me a marketing campaign for Oppenheimer the way Disney Plus would do it, right? And you got all these like character posters for the Oppenheimer people, right? They're all blandly in front of like a nuclear bomb, or it's black and white, but it all looks really cheap.
All I can tell is it's about a horny scientist and there's a hot commie. And they got posters.
Just imagine if Disney Plus was marketing Oppenheimer, how well that would have done.
I want the Einstein one, the Einstein one. But
I put bubbles into beer,
I have high hopes for it. But yeah, on the 22nd, the eve of the 22nd, I have to stay up late because it comes out on my birthday, and I'm not going to be around on my birthday to do it that day. I'm going to be, gone. So I'll stay up late on the 22nd.
I can do the show for you.
You can do it. Yeah, you guys can do it if you guys want to. But on the we could stay up on the first one, and then after that, not stay up. up to you.
He has the British accent, so he'll make the show sound real,
Yeah.
like, legit. You know. Like,
Yeah.
that's why I trust everything Meg says.
He's from Wales. He's from Wales. Where is Meg?
Yeah.
We should send her some hate mail. You weren't here today. We did roll call and you weren't here, Meg. We noticed. But anyways, and on Friday, we doing a show, Santa?
Yeah.
All right, we're doing a show on Friday.
Absolutely. Cool. We're going to start talking about predictions.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Well, I love this one. I love it. Any pew pews or pew pews or
yeah. We're working on predictions, so we're going to try to wrap up our predictions questions and talk about that a bit.
Yeah. And then Carlos says, "Greetings from Spain. Hello, Spain. Hi, Carlos. All right, everybody. We'll see everybody soon.
That's a good one to end on.
Oh yeah, greetings from Spain. Oh
yeah, you're getting sold to Apple, Meg.
Yeah, Meg got bought by Apple. All right, everyone. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Have a good day. Thanks, everybody. Bye, Xana.
Bye.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go. Hey!
You know you should go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.